And I will be your host today. If you are a regular to this event, Katie Lewis and I are switching roles today. I'll be hosting and she will be presenting. It's my pleasure to welcome you to the Workforce Forum. This is part of our 2021 Critical Issues series. Recently at the Chamber, we've been hearing from local businesses about how difficult it is to recruit employees. And at that same time, we've been hearing from our friends in government who are talking about all these resources that they have in order to help businesses recruit and retain their employees. And it's almost mythical. Do these resources really exist? Is anybody using them? How do people access them? And so on our team, Katie Lewis, our Vice President for External Affairs, has spent more than 100 hours over this last month researching, interviewing, validating what resources are available, that they are indeed available. And she has organized those findings into 3 categories to align with how employers are thinking about the talent pipeline. How do we recruit, train, and retain? So we are going to use these 3 functions today to segment our conversation, and we're going to focus a lot on segment 1, which is recruiting, because that is the pain point that we've been hearing from most folks. So a few housekeeping items before we begin. First, our colleague Vanessa Watson, our Director of Communications and Programming, is on point for the technology. She will troubleshoot and kick out any potential hackers. Our Vice President of External Affairs, Katie Lewis, she's going to be a presenter and moderator. Justin Simmons will be supporting all of us with some PowerPoint presentation. Move along. Today's session will be recorded. We will share the video through our YouTube channel and back out to each of you with some more information over the next week or so. Our forum is coordinated by the Chamber's Government Affairs Committee, and the chair of that committee, Betty Harris from Armacell, would like to bring welcome. Betty, are you with us today?
Thanks, Aaron. Welcome, everyone. I have the pleasure of chairing the Chamber's Government Affairs Committee with a group of about 24 Chamber members who volunteer their time to help make the greater Chapel Hill-Carrboro area a great place to start and to grow a business. Our committee convenes monthly to track policy and advocate on positions covering economic and workforce development, regulatory reforms, and infrastructure improvements. We also guide this critical issues series to connect thinking leaders with leading thinkers on timely issues of the day. If you're a Chamber member and you're interested in serving on our committee, we'd love to have you. Please feel free to drop me or Katie a note in the chat and we'll follow back with you. With that, I want to share my appreciation to our distinguished guest speakers today, and I hope that you enjoy our program. Back to you, Aaron.
Thanks, Betsy. And when you turned it back to me, you could have called me by any name you wished, since I, a moment ago, said Betty.
It's not first. It's okay.
It's been so long that we've known and worked with each other. Y'all, this is Betsy, and we appreciate her being with us. It's a pleasure to recognize our sponsors today, whose help makes this series possible. First up is Duke Energy. Now, Duke Energy is one of the largest energy holding companies in the United States. They provide power to more than 10 million customers, named one of the most admired companies, one of the best employers. And with us to bring welcome is Duke Energy's Director of Community Relations. Actually, I don't think that's your title anymore. You got a fabulous promotion. This is for the entire East region. That is the promote. Director of Community Relations for the East region. Y'all, this is Indira Everett. Indira?
Thank you, Aaron, and good morning. Yes, I'm Indira Everett, and I'm certainly delighted to bring welcoming remarks for each of you today. It's a pleasure to be with you for today's Workforce Forum on recruitment, training, and retention, all topics very important to Duke Energy. In fact, we have an aggressive HR team that works to build some strategies and partnerships to assist us with our talent pipeline. For us, working closely with nonprofits and higher education institutions to fill meaningful careers in whether it be engineering, communications, financial, legal, environmental, community relations, and so many other areas is really critical for our company and to our strategy. We are proud to provide foundation funding support and partner with organizations like Durham Tech, where we collaborated and created a line technician training program to help us prepare for our aging workforce. These students have several options to come and work for us, other utilities, and contractors as well. It's these kinds of partnerships that build a strong and thriving community. So I'm delighted that the Chamber will be digging deeper into this topic and offering advice on strategies and resource topics and tips. So thanks again for having us. We are glad to be a part of this series.
Thank you, Indira. And for those following at home, that's Indira Everett, who just followed Betsy Harris. Okay, next up is Durham Tech. Durham Tech is the community college that serves our workforce needs here in Orange County. Beautiful 20-acre campus, centrally located in Orange County near Hillsborough, where they focus on building the healthcare talent pipeline, supporting small businesses, and providing university transfer program. Joining us today is the interim vice president and chief academic officer. Y'all, this is Dr. Battle. Dr. Battle, it's wonderful to have you with us.
Thank you, Aaron. Good morning, everyone. Durham Tech is proud to be a member of the Chamber and a sponsor of this policy series. We are also proud to serve as Orange County's community college and to a bridge to opportunity for Orange County residents and a supplier of diverse talent for Orange County companies. Durham Tech offers 7 career pathways with over 100 programs of study. Our commitment is to ensure these pathways and programs are aligned with the local labor market and emerging growth areas in our economy to ensure an ongoing supply of well-prepared talent. We also provide customized training for new and expanding industries and serve a diverse array of local companies. I am excited that my colleague Beth Payne is here to speak more about this later in the program. I'm glad to be able to join you today. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Battle. We're glad to have you. Our third and final sponsor today is the Chapel Hill Media Group. That is 97.9 The Hill, WCHL, as well as Chapelboro, your daily local news source. We encourage you to tune in later at 4:30 today. Katie Luvis will be live on the radio with News Director Brighton McConnell to talk about the key takeaways. That's 97.9, or if you want to go old school, 1360 AM. New this year is we are deepening our engagement with our elected officials. And each of these sessions this year, we have invited a county commissioner to join us. Today, we are joined by the chair of the county commissioners, Renee Price. Renee Price was born and raised in Rochester, New York. Rochester, founded by an Orange County, a person who grew up in Orange County, so a good connection. She earned her bachelor's degree, cum laude, in urban affairs from Tufts, and her master's degree in regional planning from Cornell University. She also studied at Colgate Rochester Divinity School in the Master of Arts program. Her career began in New York when she engaged in inner city neighborhood revitalization, land use, and historic preservation. Moved to Orange County in 1990 and has been active in sustainable agriculture, promoting small farms, rural economic development. She was first elected to the Board of County Commissioners in 2012. Re-elected in 2016 and 2020, and last year was voted chair by her peers and named the North Carolina Commissioner of the Year by the North Carolina Association of County Commissioners. We are very grateful to have her. Chair Price, will you bring welcome on behalf of the County Commissioners?
Thank you. Well, the past 16 months have been a test of our endurance and have compelled us to analyze the way in which we live, work, and play. With the challenges of the global pandemic, we find ourselves evaluating our priorities and our lifestyles, our visions, and our goals. Good morning. And again, I'm Renee Price, Chair of the Orange County Board of County Commissioners. And on behalf of my colleagues and on the board, as well as the people we serve, many thanks to you, the leaders within our business community, for all that you do in contributing to the vibrancy and vitality of Orange County. I personally appreciate each and every one of you. Your focus on the workforce is critical, particularly now as we proceed to imagine and build a post-pandemic economy. Certainly, we need women and men to work in our shops, offices, medical centers, and food industries, and their well-being and prosperity will affect the social fabric and political climate of our entire region. Meanwhile, across America, we do have over 4 million disconnected youth. Those are young adults who are neither in school nor employed, yet they are looking for a future. They, along with older adults, changing careers and needing those 21st century skills, are part of that talent pipeline. The relationships and partnerships that I see here today convey strength and determination. In the diamond world, the value of the gem is determined by the 4 C's: cut, clarity, carat, and color. Your value is evidenced by another set of 4 C's. That is the 4 C's of cooperation, communication, coordination, and collaboration. This chamber certainly is a gemstone in the greater Orange County community, a stunning asset, given the partnerships between businesses and the educational institutions to ignite economic development here. Please know that my role as an elected official becomes more meaningful when in partnership with you. Government and the private sector can intensify their efforts and realize greater outcomes when joining together to provide access to opportunities for people seeking jobs and jobs seeking talented people in Orange County. And I will continue to push for the construction of the second building on the Orange County campus of Durham Technical Community College. So feel free to contact me with your ideas for policies and programs at any time, those policies and programs that will encourage the recruitment, training, and retention of talented women and men, young adults and older adults of varying abilities. Again, welcome and thank you for inviting me to this session.
Thank you, Chair Price. I really appreciate those kind words and the years of partnership that we have had with you. We look forward to a bright future together. Thank you for being with us. Now to our discussion. As I mentioned, Katie Luvis will be a presenter and moderator today. Katie is our Vice President for External Affairs. Katie earned her bachelor's degree at UNC Chapel Hill and was on the first ever varsity women's lacrosse team. She was their co-captain and helped them compete in 2 NCAA Final Fours. She's worked in business at GlaxoSmithKline. She's worked in government for years. She worked in the White House. She's worked at a national nonprofit, Achieving the Dream, and she worked for the U.S. Chamber prior to coming to work in some of the years prior to working here at our local chamber. She has a master's in public administration, and she's currently working on her doctorate. She's channeled her academic chops into helping our chamber and our community prioritize workforce development, which is what she is focusing on in her doctorate. Her research findings should prove extremely valuable for you all today. Katie Luvis, take it away.
Thanks, Aaron. Good morning, everybody. As Justin, great, thank you, Justin, for loading the slides there. All right, well, we've got a lot to cover and a little bit of time, so I'm going to get to it. As Aaron mentioned, I've spent a great deal of time making sense of our workforce system and talent pipeline through research, interviews with workforce leaders, and even a doctoral level class on workforce development. I feel like I've only just begun to untangle this complex system. One surprising finding for me has been the tens of thousands of dollars available in cash, tax credits, and in-kind support to help local employers recruit, train, and retain workers that are largely left on the table. So today's forum is my attempt to clarify this workforce system in the simplest terms possible. My hope is to make clear the disconnects and help close some gaps so more of you access what I believe are critical resources to help your businesses. To that end, I'm going to level set our conversation with some framing on the workforce system and talent pipeline. Then we're going to dive into the 3 segments. We'll have a segment on resources to help with your employees with recruiting, training, and retaining. I'll frame up each segment so we're on the same page, and then we'll have presentations from service providers who will explain the relevant resources, followed by local employers who have made the most of these resources and can share with you their direct and candid feedback. You'll likely have an opportunity to pose some questions or comments during each segment. We'll wrap up the forum with a final lightning round and have you out of here by 10. Sound good? Let's get to it. All right, so I'm going to give you the Katie-fied version of our workforce system. This means, in the spirit of brevity and clarity, I'm going to leave out a lot. If I leave out something that you think is a major omission, or if I say something inaccurate, would you please direct message me and let me know? All right, think of our workforce system in terms of levels, 4 levels: federal, state, regional, and local. And there are key stakeholders and resources at each level. At the federal level, you should know that Congress passed the Workforce Opportunity Investment Act, also known as the WIOA, W-I-O-A, in 2014, WIOA is our nation's primary workforce development legislation. It's designed to integrate and coordinate our federal workforce system and its programs that are administered at the state level. There are 5 titles or focus areas to WIOA, and I'm not going to go through each of these, but just to give you the gist, it covers job training and related services for unemployed and underemployed individuals, basic education and literacy services for adults, and then it emphasizes this one-stop shop delivery model. With WIOA, we're talking $10 billion of funding each year, which is administered by the U.S. Department of Labor, and about $7 billion of that goes directly to states for WIOA programming. Now, I'm moving right along here, and I'm leaving out several notable federal agencies and national foundations and organizations, but I would argue for today's purposes, the Department of Labor WIOA program is the most significant at the federal level for us. Now, at the state level, the WIOA money goes to the North Carolina Department of Commerce, not the Labor Department. And I think it's roughly about $90 million each year. The Commerce Department has designed designated the NC Works Commission as its designated state workforce development board. This commission's led by a private sector chair. They set the strategic workforce direction for the state, and they set the customer service standards for approximately 80 NC Works career centers across the state. So these career centers are those one-stop shop delivery systems that help employers access resources and then help job seekers get a job, job training, or education that leads to a job. Now, North Carolina has 3 other state level agencies designated as workforce partners. We've got the community college system, which now manages the state's apprenticeship program called Apprenticeship NC. We've also got the Department of Public Instruction and the Department of Health and Human Services. At the regional level, North Carolina has 23 workforce development boards. These boards provide oversight of the NC Works career centers in their region. They set strategic workforce direction for their region, and they govern the WIOA funded programs. The Regional Partnership Workforce Development Board is the workforce board serving Orange County, as well as 4 other counties. Orange County government, specifically the county's Department of Social Services, is the service provider selected by our Regional Workforce Board through a competitive process for managing the distribution of WIOA funds and managing the NC Works Career Center in Orange County. Not only does Orange County government manage the NC Works Career Center in Orange County, which, by the way, is based in Chapel Hill at the Europa Center, but the county also funds and operates a second comparable but county-led one-stop career center in Hill-Carrboro, and that's called the Orange Works Employment and Training Center. So as you can see, all of these stakeholders and resources and many more that didn't even make it onto this chart make up our workforce system. This system is designed to support our local talent pipeline. Now, this graphic is a depiction of a local talent pipeline by the U.S. Chamber of Commerce Foundation. The talent pipeline starts with the learners, and it includes education providers and work-based learning opportunities, and culminates with employers who provide jobs. Throughout the talent pipeline are available supports from local, regional, state, and national stakeholders that make up the workforce system, and they can strengthen this talent flow. Now, this next image is my depiction of our employers' workforce priorities. I found that workforce needs of our employers can fit in basically one of these 3 buckets, whether it's recruiting new employees, training new employees, or retaining existing employees. This next image is my reflection back to you all on what I have observed during my research. I observed a robust and arguably well-funded workforce system over here. And then separate from that, over here, there are a majority of our local employers who are hustling on their own to manage their talent needs and priorities separate from the system. So this next image is what I believe is the desired state for our workforce system and local talent pipeline. In this image, what you see is an integrated system. Employers' priorities are integrated throughout the talent flow, and employers are actively taking advantage of and benefiting from the workforce resources. Employers operating in this desired state are showing talent management competencies from a basic to an intermediate to an advanced level. So for the rest of this forum, we're going to go through these employer priorities and related workforce resources, and we're going to use this competency lens to make sense of what these resources are, why they matter, and how time intensive it might be for you to take advantage of them. Basic level resources are the resources that you can easily start doing right now, okay? Intermediate level resources will require some time and paperwork, and advanced level resources will require significant time and paperwork. Now, you should know that our service providers have designated staff to help you with the paperwork if you choose to proceed with these intermediate and advanced level workforce resources. For each segment, we'll have a presenter who is a service provider who will speak to the mechanics of how this all works. And then a local employer is going to, who's used that resource, will testify on how it worked and if it was worth it. Okay, so on to segment 1, recruiting resources. There are some great resources to help you with your recruiting of new employees. At the most basic level, employers should leverage the free sourcing and screening services to access untapped talent through NC Works in our community colleges and universities. NC Works has an online searchable database with thousands of job seeker resumes. Employers can easily download a list of candidates who meet their ranked and filtered criteria. Also, the NC Works Center offers on-site job fairs for individual employers, locations for interviews, candidate screenings, and even labor market data so you can compare wages. For those of you who are really hitting a dead end with finding job applicants, consider often overlooked talent pools, including veterans, youth, older workers, people with disabilities, people who speak English as a second language, people who are housing or food insecure, those currently on unemployment, and job seekers with criminal records. This brings us to the intermediate level. Hiring a candidate from an untapped talent pool can come with federal incentives, including up to $9,600 per eligible employee through the WIOA tax credit, and a free $5,000 fidelity bond for every at-risk individual hired, which helps protect the employer from any acts of dishonesty. The most advanced level of recruiting for employers, in my opinion, is to grow their own with registered apprenticeships, internships, and other paid and unpaid work experiences. To help bring the advanced level resources to life and show you what a grow your own approach could look like, it's my pleasure to introduce Andrea Fleming, Director of Existing Industry Services for the Alamance Chamber. Andrea has been with the Alamance Chamber for more than 12 years, leads their workforce development initiatives, and has been a wonderful mentor to me as I've navigated the workforce terrain. I really admire the work Andrea has done for Alamance County. She's demystified all the different workforce resources, built connections among the business community, educators, service providers, and helped launch a dynamic employer-led apprenticeship collaborative that's literally changing lives of young people and addressing an important skill gap in the county. She'll share the details of this best-in-class apprenticeship program in her presentation today. But before she does, you should know that Andrea has deep experience in research and marketing, earned her bachelor's in business administration from App State, is a graduate of the Economic Development Institute. She's on the boards of the Alamance Human Resource Association, the Regional Partnership Workforce Development Board, and is a member of the North Carolina Economic Development Association. And I believe an Orange County resident. Andrea, welcome.
Good morning. Good morning. And I just tried to share my screen and trying to talk and manage at the same time. Sorry. Okay, there we go. Everybody can see my screen. I hate using that phrase, but it always makes you feel better when you're starting a presentation. Make sure everyone can see what you're doing. And yes, I'm a resident, have my Hill-Carrboro Cup of Joe mug here with me for my coffee. So I'm told I only have 6 minutes, and I really don't want to get an ugly nudge from Erin if I go over, but so much I could talk about this morning, but I am going to try to focus just on apprenticeship. But even that could very easily take way more than 6 minutes. I work with existing industries across Alamance County, a few outside of Alamance County as well. In the last 18 months, that has covered a lot of all things COVID, but most of my time outside of COVID is spent on workforce. Apprenticeship is one of my favorite things that I work with. It is really exciting to see the youth and seeing them really transform their lives and have that significant impact on their company over, seems like a short 4 years, but I know for companies and for the students, sometimes that can seem like a long-term commitment. We're all here because we have issues with talent. Where do we find them? How do we onboard them effectively? How much do we pay them? How do we keep them? Recruitment is so challenging right now. I talked to sorry, I'm going to skip that, Erin, because I'm not going to tell a story. It's so important to find your way to stand out and what parts of that workforce development puzzle will work for you. It's not a one piece fix. You have to look at several different things. Apprenticeship is one of those pieces that can solve a lot of issues. It's not a short-term fix. There is time involved in getting it going, but it can have such huge payoffs and really work towards that big question of what is the talent pipeline, starting to build those things now so that in 3 and 4 years, you really have a really quality, talented individual working with you. So all that, we all kind of know the things on this slide. So our apprenticeship program, the Career Accelerator Program, a little bit of history. We started in 2015. It was by far industry-led. GKN, one of our major employers, came forward to the chamber and said, I really want to do this. I think it could work in Alamance County. Like, okay, what can we do to make it happen? So the chamber pulled together about 50 companies, as well as individuals from NC TAP, which is in Wake County, and Apprenticeship 2000, which is in the Charlotte area, and brought those testimonials, brought the companies that have been there, done that, to share their experience, to share their knowledge and how successful the programs have been for their companies. We ended up with about 8 companies that said, yes, we want to do this and we want to do it now. And that sounds like a small number from 50 to start with, but it really was extremely manageable to get a brand new program like this started. As soon as we had the companies on board, we very quickly grabbed the community college and our school system and brought them in as partners. This is not a single entity that can make this work. Alamance Community College had not added a new curriculum program in 15 years. And with 8 businesses coming forward and saying, we need a program in mechatronics engineering technology, 18 months later, there was a new curriculum program announced, and that program now, 5 years in, is full. In fact, they have midnight classes that are full. So that definitely speaks to the demand. The K through 12 system is a huge partner as well. We've got to have the students that are interested. We need the counselors, the career development coordinators to talk to the students about this other option, this other 4-year degree. These are bright kids. We have a GPA minimum of 2.8. So these are students that absolutely could go to 4-year school, but maybe they don't want to. Maybe they can't afford to. Maybe they don't want to yet. All of the companies in our Career Accelerator program have tuition reimbursement. So after the students finish their 4-year apprenticeship, they can go on and finish a 4-year degree and have that subsidized by their company. So definitely a partnership model. The consortium goes into the school system in the fall. We do follow a school year calendar. We start our recruitment in the fall. We go to all of the high schools, and definitely some good things have come out of COVID. We've realized being able to provide virtual meetings and Zoom meetings to share with parents and students the opportunities available through CAP has been very helpful. As a parent going to work all day and then thinking about going to the school for an 1.5-hour presentation at 6 p.m. in the midst of sports and dinners and all those other things, to be able to provide to a parent that they can watch this on their own schedule has actually been extremely helpful. We also did video tours of all of our facilities, because when we go into the school system, we talk about and promote the Career Accelerator program as a whole. It's not the individual companies.
1 more minute.
1 more minute. Okay, skipping to the next slide. The consortium model is absolutely, I think, the way to go for a community that is not very involved in apprenticeship. that definitely you have that group model to be able to go in and promote as a group. So how's it going? We just graduated our first cohort, and my only regret is not sharing pictures of the when they started and when they graduated. These kids came in as kids and really left as mature adults, watching their intellectual, their academic growth, their personal growth during those 4 years was just amazing. We currently have about 26 apprentices. We've been growing with our companies. We have 13 companies now, I believe, about to go to 14. Absolutely, we're affected by COVID, as everyone has been, but are gearing up for our recruitment for this fall and hope to have a really strong year. Some things that we have learned: the partnership is key. Having a point person to run the program is very important. We have an apprenticeship coordinator at the community college that helps with questions for registration, questions by the companies, helps with scheduling all of the parent-student information sessions, and just keeping things running smoothly. The chamber does serve as the fiscal agent. It is not the CAP is not a formal organization. It's basically a committee of the chamber. We help to run part of that. But you definitely have a lot of different target audiences to reach. The parents need one message, the students need a different one. The schools to be able to communicate to the counselors and the career development coordinators that this is a viable four-year option for their students. And then the companies. Often I think companies get overwhelmed. There are so many choices in the workforce development system, and they see this as a 4-year commitment. But really, we have companies that are starting to see value in that apprentice after a year. The testimonials have been huge. Being able to share from a company that has been there, done that, and has really seen success has really gone a long way in our recruitment of additional companies.
And Andrea, I'm going to have to pause you there. It's a perfect segue to move us along. I've got Luca Romano of AKG. He is one of the participating companies in this Career Accelerator program. So thank you, Andrea, for sharing about that.
Sure.
AKG is a global firm that engineers and manufactures industrial cooling systems. The company is headquartered in Germany and has a major production center in Mebane. Luca is their vice president of operations. He's an international engineer experienced in running American and European operations across the mechanical and chemical industries. His company is actively involved in the Career Accelerator program that Andrea just talked about. Luca, as an employer involved in this apprenticeship collaborative, would you share your very quick reflections with us? What do our employers need to know? Was it worth the time? How did it work? Go.
Good morning. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to share our experience with the apprenticeship program primarily. As I like the way Katie framed it as far as the 3 steps, the recruiting, the training, and the retaining. I think it's very important. And also the way, Katie, you framed the basic, the intermediate, and the advanced stages. We went in 2017, AKG decided as a strategic objective to become the employer of choice. We want to be the employer that anybody in the community, when they're looking for a job, we want AKG to be the place that everybody aspires to go work for. So in order to do that, we had to do a lot of work because we definitely weren't there. We did join the Career Apprenticeship Program in 2017. We currently have 4 apprentices. The very first one that started in 2017 will graduate next year, and I cannot be happier about the whole experience. It's as you all know, this talent is hard to recruit. It's hard to find, and when you find it, it's very expensive and tend to be pretty demanding as far as pay, as far as working conditions. What the apprenticeship program allows us to do is to, first of all, select the kids, the most talented one. The GPAs are a requirement. They have to do presentation. They have to interview with us. So we have the pick of the litter, and that helps a lot in then developing an individual that already proved himself or herself to be trainable and to be somebody that goes through the hurdles of becoming part of this apprenticeship.
Thank you, Lisa. Your testimonial is really helpful. So folks, it takes some effort to get in there and be a part of an apprenticeship program, but according to AKG, it's worth it. Time on task.
Absolutely.
All right, I'm going to move us along. Staying with this theme of recruiting talent, it's my pleasure to introduce our next presenter, Karina Garris. Karina is an employee of Orange County government. She runs the NC Works Career Center of Orange County, which is part of North Carolina's one-stop career center system across our state. We're lucky to have her here. We have two, in Orange County, we have two of these centers. Karina has a peer named Lena who runs the Orange Works Center. And together they're helping businesses navigate this terrain and resources. Karina has led the center in Chapel Hill for nearly 4 years. She has a master's in social work. She's been hustling these days, hosting several hiring events for our local businesses, and overall has been a wonderful partner. Karina, just a quick caveat, we're running a snappy program, and I know you got 12 slides, so I might have to nudge you along after 5 or 6 minutes. That's your fair warning. Over to you.
I'll be quick and concise.
Sure, I'll believe it when I see it.
Well, good morning, everyone, and thank you, Katie, for inviting me to be here to speak. I will be as brief as I can and just give an overview of what we do here in Orange County with our employment and training services and the resources that are available here for employers and individuals. Next slide, please. Orange County Employment and Training Services, what we do is we help to provide services to individuals to help secure employment, training, and education. And the goal of it is really for them to be able to find employment that would lead to self-sufficiency. As Katie stated, we do have 2 centers, one in Hill-Carrboro, which is Orange Works, and one here in Chapel Hill, which is the NC Works, and some folks know it as the Skills Development Career Center. Next slide, please. So some of the programs we offer through the employment services, we have the FNS-ENT program, which is the Food and Nutrition Services Employment and Training Program. And this program is for individuals who currently receive food and nutrition services, food stamps. And we help them gain skills and training and provide work experience to lead to self-sufficiency. Our WLA Adult and Dislocated Worker Program essentially does the same thing. We cater to individuals 18 and up who are able to work. We offer supportive services, hands-on training, the opportunity to get work experience through either work experience, Ojt, or apprenticeships, and I'll talk about that a little later. And then we have the Wla Next Gen Program, and that program, it serves youth 14 to 24, but here in Orange County, we serve ages 16 to 24. And our goal is to get them training, education, and employment as well. And then the Work First program is the family assistance program that provides families with short-term training and other services for parents who have at least one child under the age of 18. Next slide, please. This is our information. These are our 2 career centers. In Chapel Hill, we offer GED, high school equivalency classes. We partner with Durham Tech to provide workforce development classes. Individuals are able to come here to assess job search information, to do their resumes. We have wonderful partnerships with the Voc Rehab, with NCBA, Division of Workforce Solutions, the UNC Nursing Program, Durham Tech, and more. And then we also offer employer services, and I'll talk a little bit more about that. In Orange Works, they do the same thing. And the one thing that's unique about Orange Works is that we have an on-site cafe where the youth that are involved in our programs are able to work and get the work experience they need. Next slide, please. So these is just a list of things we provide through the career centers. Job search assistance, health and wellness assessments, personalized employment planning, educational assistance. They get one-on-one Durham Tech advising. We have an awesome education navigator, Mary Moore, who helps provide those services. We do resume development, and then we have volunteer work experience opportunities as well as transportation assistance. Next slide, please. And you can keep going. Next. All right, so some of the services that we have for employers is one of them is work experience. And with that, we can put one of our participants in your business, and it's 100% subsidized employment. So essentially that's free labor to you. We just, want them to get the work experience they need to be trained in specific job duties. And typically a work experience can last anywhere from 3 to 6 months for one placement. Next slide, please. On-the-job training is similar to work experience. The difference is we reimburse up to 75% of the training wages, and that just depends on the size of your business, whether you get 50 or 75%. It's for a period of up to 6 months as well, and the goal is to hire that individual permanently at the end of that 6 months. And it just gives them time to learn the job and to increase the skills to perform the job duties. Next slide, please. The Incumbent Worker Program is for individuals who's been on your job for at least 6 months, and they will receive specialized training in the hopes that it will lead to a promotion. Next slide. Katie spoke on this earlier, so I won't go too much into it, but this is the information for the federal bonding and the work opportunity tax credit that employers can receive as well. Next slide. And finally, additional resources we have for employers. We have rapid response assistance. And what that is if your business is closing or you have to do a major layoff, we come in and work with those individuals who are getting laid off to talk to them about how to go about filing for unemployment, and then we provide them with job search referrals and things of that nature. We also can help with providing you with applicants. You need to fill your positions. We do screening for those candidates. We provide labor market information, information on tax credits that you are privy to. Here at our centers, we have space for you to conduct job interviews. And one of our biggest things is we help with arranging job fairs and hiring events, as Katie mentioned earlier. Since I believe March, April, we've been having hiring events for employers. You can do either individual hiring events where we just work with you specifically and put that information out, or we do large scale events. For instance, we're having one tomorrow for the hospitality industry here at Europa in the parking lot. And that's just one thing we like to offer for employers, and all these services are free of charge to you. Through our ncworks.gov, that is the system we use for NCWorks here, you are able to put in job orders for the positions that you have available free of charge. You have access to readily available database of resumes. So you can go in and based off what skills you're looking for in a candidate, you can pull those resumes, contact those individuals and get people in to interview. And then we also have opportunities for apprenticeships, internships. Next slide, please. And this is the information for contact information for myself here at NCWorks, and for Lena, she manages the Orange Works Center in Hillsborough. And that's all.
Thanks, Karina. Well done. Now for a response from an employer who's benefited from our NCWorks Center and can share some firsthand experiences. I'm pleased to introduce Nora Spencer of Hope Renovations. Nora is the founder and CEO of Hope Renovations, which is a nonprofit organization that empowers women to pursue living wage jobs in the construction trades through their hands-on training program. And Hope Renovations construction program provides repairs and renovations to enable older adults to stay in their homes as they age. Nora is a visionary leader with a master's in social work from UNC. She's worked in human resources for major companies, including Lowe's and IBM. ran her own workforce development consulting firm. Nora, you've recently navigated this process to secure some professional work experience funds and on-the-job training funds. And that allowed you to afford being able to recruit some great candidates for your nonprofit, from what I understand. Can you tell us a little bit about that very briefly and the role the NC Work Center played for you?
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, I can't say enough about the NC Works team and what they have to offer. They're so wonderful to work with. So like Katie mentioned, we're a nonprofit. We run two programs side by side. We have a trades training program for women where we prepare underemployed women for jobs in the trades. But we also have a construction program where we have an all-female crew that goes out in the community and does repairs, renovations, and remodels. My background is in primarily in recruiting in HR. So getting people to the table is my skill set. But as my first experience in a startup and in a nonprofit, figuring out how to pay for people and to be competitive was new to me. The idea was always to bring graduates from our training program onto our construction team when we were financially able to. And we were developing our training program since we were initially funded through a WIOA grant. I learned about Ojt from Tammy Wall with the Regional Partnership Workforce Development Board. And so when things started ramping up on the construction side, and we had the opportunity, we worked with Karina and her wonderful team at NC Works to bring one of our graduates onto our construction team via the Ojt program. And since then, we've hired one additional Hope Gal, our graduates, onto our team via Ojt. She just started on Monday, actually. The reason that Ojt was so critical for recruitment was that both of these women had multiple offers coming out of our training program from other companies that were way more established than we were. So because Ojt pays half of the employee's wages during the training period, we were able to be competitive on the wage front, which we probably wouldn't have been able to do otherwise. But more importantly, because Ojt includes a training plan and specific goals, our opportunity really sold itself to these women. So, you know, they're coming into a new industry where women traditionally haven't had a place at the table. So coming to an employer where they would have an opportunity to develop their skills and confidence on a formal training plan was extremely attractive to them. So it allowed us to be a competitive employer for those two women. The thing, though, we were already familiar with their skills and abilities. We've actually brought on another individual that we met through our recruiting process. They applied to a job, didn't quite have the skills that we needed for that job, but Ojt is a great solution to get them up to speed. So they're a great fit for our organization. We're pretty good at training. We reached out to NC Works, said we'd like to bring them on via Ojt. And now it's allowing us to take a chance on this person because it mitigates our financial risk since their wages are subsidized for the first 6 months while they're in training. So it really is an awesome recruitment tool. And Katie, I don't know if I have 30 more seconds to talk about WEX. But the work experience,
no more than that.
Okay, sorry, I got it. The work experience program that Karina mentioned too, we've used that as well. We've had a few graduates that have come out of our training program that felt like they weren't really ready for prime time and they really needed some additional skills and experience. So we were able through the work experience program to bring them onto our crew as interns, fully subsidized by NC Works and by the county. And we were able to pay them a living wage, give them a couple of days per week of work experience with our team while they continue to go through that search, trying to find the right fit for themselves and build that skill level to go into the trades. So they've both been fantastic programs for us and really allowed us to recruit more effectively.
Nora, superb job. Thank you for punctuating those important resources. Erin, I don't know if you've seen any direct message questions. Otherwise, I'm going to move us along to segment 2.
Lean back in your seats, y'all. Buckle up. Segment 2.
All right, Justin, thank you for pulling up the slide for me. Okay, segment 2, resources for training new hires. Again, starting at the most basic level, a competent employer would conduct a formal orientation for new hires and leverage any existing training programs. An employer operating at the intermediate level would be willing to be a bit more, put a bit more time and attention into the training and take advantage of available resources like on-the-job training funds. As you have already heard, the on-the-job training funds are a WIOA-funded program that the Regional Partnership Workforce Board governs and the Orange County government manages. And both entities have staff who can help you with this application process. So if you want to do something like what Nora did, you can get the support you need to see that through. Moving up the competency ladder, an advanced level employer would go to the next step and create a customized training program for their new hires. To help us understand what a customized training program is and how it works, it's my pleasure to introduce Beth Payne, who is the Dean of Corporate Services for Durham Technical Community College. Beth has worked at Durham Tech for 16 years, and in her current role, she directs the college's training programs for new and existing businesses in Durham and Orange counties, including specialized services through the NC Works Customized Training Program and Small Business Center. Before Durham Tech, Beth spent 4 years working with the Greater Durham Chamber of Commerce, 6 years with the North Carolina Employment Security Commission, and I believe she's a Carolina grad. As you can imagine, Durham Tech has many important resources for you all. I've asked Beth to provide a good overview of the customized training program, but also share a bit more on several other resources available. Beth, welcome.
Thank you, Katie. Good morning, and thank you to Aaron, Katie, and the Chamber for the opportunity to be with you to talk about training resources. And thank you, Justin, for slides. Dr. Battle introduced the college a little bit, but just as a couple quick facts, we have 3 campuses that serve Durham and Orange counties, one on Lawson Street in Durham, our Northern Durham campus near Trayburn, our Orange County campus in Hillsborough, and we offer services at off-campus locations in Chapel Hill, downtown Durham, North Duke Street, and the Research Triangle. Just quick facts again, Dr. Battle mentioned our over 100 certificates, diploma, degree programs within our guided career pathways. We serve more than 18,000 students annually in our credit and non-credit programs, have approximately 150 full-time and nearly 340 part-time faculty, and also a middle college high school for juniors and seniors. So to focus really on training resources for employers. In addition to those programs and opportunities, our corporate services team works directly with local employers to develop training solutions to meet the needs of their employees. So whether that's new training for or training for new hires or training to upskill or reskill your existing talent, we work closely with company representatives to assess the needs, to identify content, qualified instructors, materials, determine schedules that work best for the business, and the location. A lot of the training we do is at the company site or can be on the campus. Again, whatever best meets the business needs. We can partner with a company for one class. Some good examples, we do safety training or computer or software training. We can partner on a series of courses or a more comprehensive training plan, again, depending on the needs. In most cases, for our corporate services team to set up a course directly with an employer, an ideal number of employees for most of our topics is somewhere in the range between 10 and 12 trainees. Again, if employers are for smaller companies or for smaller numbers, we can also certainly help identify existing courses or programs at the college for your employees. And Andrea touched on this earlier, but also have the opportunity to try and pull together employers within a sector or with similar needs to collaborate and hopefully put together more of a cohort approach. We do work to identify cost-effective solutions when we partner with local companies. So we try to pull in either from existing content that we might have at the college. We have a network of instructors that we work with regularly. Many of them have certifications in some industry recognized programs. We also maintain licensing agreements for certain programs and hopefully can pass those savings along to the clients that we work with. Next slide, please. In some cases, certain businesses, and I want to just kind of touch on this program, certain businesses may be eligible for assistance through the state's customized training program. The customized training program supports the economic development efforts of the state So really, in some cases, again, kind of part of the incentives through the state, we can provide training and support services for those eligible businesses through our network of community colleges. Next slide, please. Just to give you all an idea, Durham Tech is part of the North Central region. So there we are, the orange counties, along with 8 of our sister colleges. Next slide, please. And I won't get too much into eligibility. Again, there's a lot we have a lot to talk about in 6 minutes. But we are primarily working with eligible industry sectors and working with companies that are creating new jobs, adding new technology, or working to enhance the productivity of their existing workforce. Again, we partner with companies to identify the essential skills needed for various positions, and you'll see a list of some of our kind of most common training topics. Lots of leadership, supervision, team building, but also some more technical and job-specific applications. Next slide, please. I borrowed this from a colleague because I just like the ongoing kind of nature of the graphic. Again, we try to work sort of in an ongoing approach to support our industry partners. We do try and pull in our community college faculty, instructors, subject matter experts, again, depending on the need of the company. But just as a quick data point, this past year, even with its challenges, we worked with 26 new and expanding companies through our customized training program and provided training to nearly 850 of their employees. So we've been delighted to work with some of the local companies in the area as they've been growing. And next slide, please. This is my last one, Katie. Just in addition to training opportunities for your new and incumbent employees, just to quickly highlight some of our other college resources. For recruiting, we do have a career services team that can help businesses connect with students and graduates, including a job portal that employers can post job opportunities at no cost. Our career services team can coordinate visits for information sessions, interviewing, career fairs. Again, we partner with our NC Works career centers to promote those opportunities to students. Our Back to Work initiative is focused on short-term courses that provide students with in-demand skill sets. You'll see some other things listed. We do have an apprenticeship NC coordinator co-located with our corporate services team. We have staff who specialize in workforce assessments. Again, lots of opportunities to partner with the college for both recruiting and training your new and existing employees. I have included my contact information, but certainly we are very excited to build great partnerships with our local employers and provide that ongoing support.
Well done, Beth. Thank you very much. And Beth mentioned nearly 30 other employers are taking advantage of these training programs. And so I want you to hear from one of those employers today. I'd like to introduce Roxana Shivak, who is the HR manager for Morinaga, which is a global candy company headquartered in Japan, but has a manufacturing facility in Mebane. In Mebane, the company produces their famous fruity, chewy candy called High Chews. They're delicious. Roxana has been a human resources manager at several organizations, including NC State, UNC, IBM, and now Morinaga. And as you can imagine, Morinaga needs to find workers with specialized talents to handle expensive machinery, and training is critical for their employee success. Roxana, your company partnered with Durham Tech on customized training. Can you very quickly tell us about it and what you think?
Yes, well, first of all, thank you for that great introduction. I'm very happy to be here with you guys this morning. Shortly after I started, I discovered that as part of our economic development incentive, we had this vast resource that was untapped for over a year. So, and which was the customized training plan from Durham Tech which is part of our plan for 3 years at no cost. So I immediately reached out to Doug and Beth, and a couple months later, we were in business. Doug has made this process seamless. The communication, the expertise, the knowledge are impeccable, but I would like to specifically point out that the follow-up is their best asset. There is nothing that I value more in a collaboration than when people do what they say they're going to do. And this is what Durham Tech has provided, along with their wonderful team for the past 2.5 years to Morinaga. We have had safety, CPR, leadership, quality assurance, a great variety of offerings with amazing instructors. The quality, I cannot stress it out more, is great. In this highly competitive market, it's vital that we have the best workers on staff being productive, as productive as possible. And employee training not only teaches your team how to do something better, but it's also a powerful tool for employee retention. And that's one of the main reasons why we are very happy with this service. We value our employees. We want them to feel that way. And if we have succeeded in that part, has been in great part because of the collaboration that we have had with Durham Tech and their terrific team.
Roxana, thank you for that testimonial. It's so encouraging to hear that these resources out there, whether it's the customized training, paid work experiences, on-the-job training, incumbent worker training, there are resources there, and we do have employers taking advantage of them. This is not a total mystical thing. It's happening, and we want to help you do this. Erin, are there any questions coming in? If not, I'll move along.
Nope, just testimonial on how yummy Hai Chu is. I agree. The mango, my favorite. I really like the green apple. Let's move along.
Sounds good. And friendly reminder, folks, if you do have any questions or comments, feel free to post them in the chat. All right, segment 3. This is our third and final segment on resources to help employers retain existing employees. So starting at the most basic level, to keep existing employees and help them move up your career ladder, an employer should, at the very least, incentivize and reward employee professional development. This could mean providing time away from the organization to take an existing training class at Durham Tech or UNC or with an association, and possibly reimbursing the employee for the fees. It could also mean the employers pay the professional development costs upfront so that the employee is not coming out of pocket for it. Now, moving up to the intermediate level, an employer could take advantage of the incumbent worker training funds. As you know, this is a WIOA funded program that covers, I believe, up to $15,000 per organization to help offset the cost of training employees who have worked with the organization for more than 6 months. The idea is that the training should lead to an increased skill level so that employees can be promoted, and then the employer can backfill opportunities for less skilled, experienced employees. We'll hear more about this in just a moment, but moving up to the next level, an employer operating at an advanced level would actually create professional development programs for their employees. And this could be done with your local community college or another service provider, and also done among several employers in the same industry as a collaborative. So to help bring these employer resources to life for us, it's my pleasure to introduce Tammy Wall, Executive Director of the Regional Partnership Workforce Development Board. Tammy has dedicated her career to helping North Carolina job seekers have the tools they need to succeed in the job market. She worked her way up from employment specialist to Workforce Investment Act coordinator, to program director, to center director, and now the director of the regional board. The board is a 5-county partnership with representatives from government, business, education, and other service providers who together develop the regional strategic plans and set funding priorities that address current labor shortages and future employer demands. In addition, Tammy's organization governs the federal funds that pass through the state as part of the Workforce Innovation Opportunity Act, or WIOA. And these funds fuel all those programs we've been talking about on the job training, incumbent worker. She's going to tell us more about that. Tammy, it's great to see you. Please tell us about these employer resources.
Tammy, if you are talking.
There I go.
There
I
you
am
go.
unmuted. So thank you, Justin, for doing my slides. Katie, thank you for framing this. You've practically done my presentation for me. So yes, I am with the Regional Partnership Workforce Development Board. Next slide, please. And you may not be familiar with what a workforce board is. Katie set us up to indicate that workforce development begins at the federal level. Federal legislation requires the governor and the state to establish and certify a workforce board for each local area of the state. And there are 23 workforce boards in the state of North Carolina. Each board has staff to the board who coordinate workforce services. Our board staff is comprised of 5 staff members, and our workforce board is Katie and Andrea are members. And if Nancy Costin is on the forum today, she is also one of our workforce board members. They have been great contributors to workforce development in our region, and they help do the tasks that the workforce boards are charged with, such as developing local plans for the use of federal funds provided through legislation. And as she has mentioned, that legislation is known as Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act, or the WIOA programs. We do oversight of the local service delivery system, which is the NC Works Career System that Karina spoke of. Job seekers can find and search for jobs, create resumes, find education and training. Employers can find candidates, post jobs, and search for labor market information. We also coordinate activities with economic development entities and employers in our local area. Next slide, please. Regional partnership is comprised of a 5-county service area. Those are Alamance, Moore, Montgomery, Orange, and Randolph counties. If you're familiar with your North Carolina county geography, you will notice that we are very varied in the county makeup in each of our counties. Some of them are more focused in rural areas such as Montgomery, and some areas of Moore County and Randolph County. Alamance and Randolph are very strong in industry, manufacturing, and Moore and Orange are very much, they have manufacturing as well as a strong healthcare and service industry. The board is a partnership of public and private resources that provide workforce development solutions for individuals and businesses. Our board is a 24-member board, with the majority of the board being represented by local businesses, as well as individuals representing economic development agencies, community-based organizations, education, organized labor, and public assistance agencies. Our vision is to stimulate economic growth by providing a skilled workforce that exceeds business needs for today and tomorrow. We help businesses locate, screen, select, and train workers. We assist job seekers access the resources they need to find employment. Next slide. Our workforce board offers numerous programs that are very valuable for employers. And as Katie has indicated, we are trying to get the word out to our employers during this time to help bring people into your companies, to upskill the staff that you have, and to backfill those positions. Some of those are our incumbent worker training program, on-the-job training, federal bonding, and the work opportunity tax credit. These programs are valuable tools and support services and support, and they are at little or no cost to the employer. Next slide. So some wonderful examples of incumbent worker training are training on new machinery, upskill your current workforce, create jobs, and streamline your business process. We consult with current or relocating businesses and economic developers to deliver customized workforce development solutions. We can help business and individuals navigate a frequently complex network of education, government, and private sector resources to build a workforce that meets current and future needs and boosts competitiveness and profitability. Our incumbent worker training is designed to make a difference in your bottom line. Any incumbent worker training should lead to an increased skill level, The ideal training would upskill employees in order to be promoted, which then allows the employer to backfill opportunities for less skilled or experienced employees. Next slide, please. For an employee to be eligible for incumbent worker training grants, they must be at least 18 years of age and a paid employee of your business. And that would be them receiving a W-2 and not a 1099. They must meet the Fair Labor Standards requirements for an employer-employee relationship. They must have consistently worked for your business for at least 6 months. They must be U.S. citizens or non-citizens permitted to work in the U.S. Next slide. The employer eligibility is that the business must be a North Carolina business in operation within the state for at least 12 months. All businesses must be current on all federal, state, and local obligations, and the company must be financially viable. Next slide. Actually, I'm going to pause right there and go back to my incumbent worker training. Common incumbent worker training might include the purchase of new machinery and vendor training employees on operation. So if your company purchases a machine, a lot of times that company will also have a team that will come out, set up the machine, and train the employees that will be operating that machinery. This is a perfect opportunity for an employer to apply for an incumbent worker training grant. This grant allows the employer to use up to $15,000 per program year. Our year is July 1 to June 30th. So the employer would have access to up to $15,000 to pay for training in this scenario. Some very common trainings that we do are ISO lead auditor training for health and safety management systems, Six Sigma, HR training on upgraded accounting systems. We did right many HR trainings that helped our HR teams deal with COVID issues related to human resources. We did leadership training as well as a mobile crane operator training. So there's a wide variety of training opportunities that are eligible for incumbent worker training.
And Tammy, I can give you
wonderful
about 30
program.
seconds.
Next slide. I think Karina has already, and Nora already mentioned our on-the-job training program, which helps our businesses offset training costs while filling skilled positions and creating new jobs. Employers receive assistance with recruiting talent while creating a viable pathway for unemployed workers. Next slide. So the benefits of the Ojt program are they're going to save time and money while minimizing new hire risk. They provide valuable skills and experience to job seekers that are specific to your business or industry, and are previously unemployed or underemployed employees are able to earn wages while gaining valuable occupational skills. Next slide. Some of the other resources that are available are the federal bonding program and the work opportunity tax credit. They are very similar in that they are targeted for employers who are considering to hire high-risk workers, and it protects the employers against theft or dishonesty. Federal tax credits are available to employers who hire individuals from eligible target groups. Move to my notes. Some of these may be individuals who have a history of arrest or conviction, a history of substance abuse, individuals with poor credit or who have a declared bankruptcy. Individuals with a dishonorable discharge from the military would fall under this category, as well as individuals who just lack a sufficient work history.
I'm going to need to move us along.
Okay.
And the incumbent worker training details that you provided were superb, because we have Jackie Jones of Piedmont Health with us, who actually helped her employees at Piedmont Health go through a training program using incumbent worker training funds. And she's going to be able to tell us about that. So let me give her a quick introduction. As you all know, Piedmont Health is a community-based healthcare provider that delivers high-quality comprehensive care through a patient-centered medical home model. They focus on coordinated primary care and provide medical services, dental care, on-site pharmacies, and nutrition counseling and disease management through their, I think at least 8 locations across about a dozen counties in our region. Jackie Jones is an HR professional for Piedmont Health. One of her many roles is to manage professional development services for their executives at Piedmont Health. Jackie, would you take just a moment to tell us a bit about the recent incumbent worker training funds that you were able to leverage to help offset the costs of some of your recent training?
Good morning. It would be my pleasure to do so. And we also have 2 senior care facilities, PACE facilities. PHS was a successful recipient of 2 grants, receiving approximately $30,000 over a 2-year period. And as a nonprofit, that makes quite an impact. The grant allowed us the opportunity to provide training for approximately 70 mid-level leaders, both new and incumbent or veteran leaders with our organization. They received soft skills training, managing training that focused on managing and interacting with staff, something that was much needed. We tend to focus very much on those clinical skills and that type of thing. Our training was provided by Durham Technical Community College. However, we did our due diligence in advance by reaching out to several training vendors for cost comparison. Prior to contracting with Durham Tech, we were quoted 2 to 3 times as much as Durham Tech did to deliver the same training. As a recipient of the grant, you will be required to provide some type of in-kind costs, such as lunch for your employees or training materials, so forth. The application process is easy, simple, straightforward, and you will probably be assigned a workforce development board designated resource to work with you. Ours was awesome. She was very responsive, answered all of our questions, and was there to lend a hand whenever we needed. Some of the benefits that we saw from the program was that our leaders appeared to be better equipped to respond to basic employee issues, and they were more confident in doing so. They better understood their approach to work and how their personality styles influence their perceptions of the employees and their interactions with their team members. We have been able to retain the majority of those leaders, and in fact, many of them have indeed received promotions.
Jackie, that was superb. Not only did I love your explanation of going out for the bids and how Durham Tech was such an affordable, excellent option, but then how you leverage these dollars to really help do some internal promotions through your training program. Thank you for that. Justin, if you're able to pull up I have one more slide I want to show the group. Basically, folks, at this point, we've begun to make sense of our workforce system and talent pipeline. We've discussed many workforce resources available to help you recruit, train, and retain workers, and even digested those resources with a competency lens. So you can consider time on task and if you're ready to move up to the next level. This graphic, in my opinion, is what I believe is effective talent management. Excuse me. In it, you can see that the employer priorities are integrated in the talent pipeline and are reinforced through the resources available in our workforce system. The font, admittedly, is small, but this is more of a picture of a healthy workforce development system and how it all comes together. So I hope this is helpful for you. Aaron, we do have just a few moments if there are any questions or comments from the audience. Otherwise, I can move us along.
If you would like to post any questions in the chat, please feel free to do that. We'll share afterwards contact information as well as this presentation. So I think just proceed, Katie.
Okie doke, moving right along. Okay, so there has been a diverse working group that has come together this past spring, including career and technical education directors from our high schools, representatives from the business community, including our chamber and the home builders, elected officials, educators from Durham Tech, and Ty Wynn, an elected official for the town of Chapel Hill, really coalesced this group to launch a pre-apprenticeship program in the skilled trades, particularly targeting young people who are either children of refugees, speak English as a second language, and just young people who are facing a lot of different barriers to future employment. And so our group cobbled together what we think is the most awesome concept for a summer career academy. And on the quiet, this hasn't been publicly announced until now, but we've secured some funds to launch a summer construction career academy next summer, some public and private funds. And Ty wanted to take a moment to quickly check in with you and to gauge some interest. Ty, over to you.
Good morning, everyone. Can y'all hear me?
We can.
Hello, I'm Ty Huynh, your Chapel Hill Town Council member. Huge thank you to Katie for her leadership in putting together this dope event. As she said, our working group has put together a vision and raised some significant funding for a pre-apprenticeship summer academy where we aim to provide the work-based learning opportunities that we've talked about all morning to local high school students in the skilled construction trades. So HVAC, carpentry, plumbing, all of those good things. And an essential partner in this endeavor is you all as local employers. So I'm here to ask you this morning, who in the construction trades or in the workforce development space is interested in learning more about our vision, providing their feedback and input, which will be essential as we start designing it, and potentially participating as a partner in the academy. So we'll be hosting an orientation and listening session in the coming weeks and months. And if you are interested in receiving more information, if you could please indicate that by using the raise your hand function now, so we can record you down, that would be great. Or actually, Mr. Nelson said you could post your name and company here. That would also be amazing. And I will screenshot that and we'll get that information to you. We're interested in getting your input and feedback on what your talent needs are and how we can really design this program from the ground up to meet your needs. So thank you for your time and attention.
Great job.
Folks, you need not be in the training space. You could be AKG, for example, or an organization with a building, a hotel with an operational system, or us helping you connect high school students with a pre-apprenticeship program. So please drop your name. Thank you, Ty, for being here.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
Mm-hmm. And Ty, I see some hands up, so I'll leave it to you to grab those names, and we can send you the chat as well after the meeting so you can see who's posting in there. All right, I'm going to bring us to a close. I'm going to ask each of our presenters and guest speakers to respond to one final rapid fire question. And I'm just going to go in the order that they presented today. So fair warning to each of our presenters and responders. Here's the question. If our audience hears nothing else, what is the one thing you believe that they should know or do to effectively manage their talent pipeline? Andrea, I'm going to go to you first.
I get to go first. I said it in my presentation, but starting now, and I think I had one of the more longer term solutions for apprenticeship. It is a 4-year program, but if you don't start now, that 4 years, that final time when you have a graduated apprentice just gets pushed further and further out. It's a crazy flexible program. Start now, get more information, and see how you can get started.
All right, good tip. So do it now. Don't wait, employers. Luca, I'm going to you next, and then I'll have to look at my notes to see who's after that. Go ahead, Luca.
So, sorry, I'll start the video. My main point is help create and support the apprenticeship programs like the Career Apprenticeship Program. It is an investment in our future talent pipeline. It helps us fill in the most critical and sought after positions. It improves the local community, creating good paying jobs and growing the consortium and supporting the community college, helping them offer more classes and more targeted classes to what we need as an industry. And the more interest there is on the apprenticeship program, the more flexibility the college has to offer classes at different times that fit our schedule. So that will be my takeaway.
So lean in and work together with the community.
Definitely.
Got it. All right, Karina, I'm going to you. And then Nora, let me repeat the question. If our audience hears nothing else, what is the one thing you believe they should know or do to effectively manage their talent pipeline? Karina?
Well, I would say, please just take advantage of the awesome resources that we have here at the NC Works Career Center and that we have at the Orange Works Employment and Training Center. Those services are free of charge. They're here for you to use. We will do all we can to get you the talent you need. So please just reach out to us.
Thanks, Karina. Reach out and use the resources. Nora, over to you.
Yeah, being competitive is not just about wages. It's about offering a fully fleshed out training opportunity. And the Ojt program and the WEX program through NC Works and WIOA allow you to do that and be more competitive in the market.
Mm-hmm. So think about competitive packages that look at not just recruiting, but the training and the career ladder, and these resources can do it for you. Okay, I've got next up is Beth and then Roxana. I'll repeat the question. If our audience hears nothing else, what is the one thing you believe they should know or do to effectively manage their talent pipeline? Beth?
I would say, again, to echo Karina, reach out to us to explore opportunities to invest in your workforce. We've talked about a lot of programs, but we do all work together as a team. And so we love to brainstorm opportunities and help you tap into a diverse talent pool to reskill, upskill your existing talent, just great opportunities to partner. So I would say reach out to any of us and we can pull our team together.
Awesome. Thanks, Beth. And Roxana? We might have lost her. She might have had to go to another meeting. Okay, I'm going to move it right along then. Next on deck is Tammy and then Jackie. So Tammy, the question is, if our audience hears nothing else, what is the one thing you believe they should know or do to effectively manage their talent pipeline?
Well, I have to echo the sentiments of Karina and Beth and say, please reach out to us to take advantage of the resources that are available and free. And customers who use our services are almost always a repeat customer. So if once you try us out, you will come back.
That's great, Tammy. Thank you. And do we still have Jackie on the line, or did she have to scoot? I think she had to scoot. All right. Well done. Thank you, speakers, for your terrific comments today and for sharing such important tips for our audience. I, for one, have learned a great deal about the important resources available to help our local employers with their talent pipeline. We said at the top of the meeting that local employers leave tens of thousands of dollars on the table in cash, tax credits, and in-kind support to help their recruiting, training, and retaining of workers. Today's forum helps surface what those resources are and how to take advantage of them. We know that the very few Orange County employers who have figured this out are making the most of it, as Tammy just said. And then there's so many others sitting on the sidelines. So we hope today that you feel empowered to take the next step. Know that our workforce partners are ready and willing to work with you and help you navigate the system. And so is your chamber. Lean on us too. Also, our chamber is producing a new talent pipeline playbook for employers, which will make it really easy for you to review each and every resource discussed today and have the links and contact information to take the next step. So stay tuned for that in the coming weeks. With that, Aaron, back to you to bring us to a close.
Thank you, Katie. Really an exceptional job today. 13 speakers, 90 minutes, crisp and on time. Your bumps and pivots are great. If you were a speaker and you got a gentle bump, hopefully that's just a small bruise. It'll heal quickly. But it was nice to keep us all moving along like you did. As Katie mentioned, got a lot more clarity today. These mythical reimbursements and tax credits are real. People are taking advantage of them, and so should you. A heartfelt thank you to our speakers who prepared superb, crisp presentations today, and to Commissioner Price, who brought warm welcome. I also want to thank our sponsors who made today's forum possible, and all of our critical issues series, Chapel Hill Media Group, Duke Energy, and Durham Tech. As I mentioned at the start of the meeting, we will send you a link to the video and slides in today's presentation. And as Katie said, very soon, a talent pipeline playbook for employers. In the meantime, tune in today at 4:30 on WCHL 97.9. And really, Katie, a very special thank you to you. Chamber members, you have a tremendous resource in Katie Lewis here at our Chamber of Commerce. We are grateful for her leadership in workforce development and helping with this. Thank you, Vanessa Watson, our Director of Communications and Programs, for helping organize today, and Justin Simmons, our Chief of Staff, for keeping us together. On October 14th will be our next Critical Issues Forum. It will be on residential and commercial real estate. As always, thank you for your membership in the Chamber. You can find more at carolinachamber.org. Everybody have a wonderful, wonderful day. Take care.